That's new. And welcome. It's Monday, 1 o'clock, time for the Deal Doctor live stream. Eric and I get a lot of calls, as you can imagine, from frustrated buyer's agents who have lost offers. On our Facebook Connect page today, two of our agents chimed in saying that they have lost a number of offers to other agents, regardless of the fact that they have been extremely strong offers. Penny points out that she lost an offer, $20,000 overlist appraisal guarantee, no inspections, conventional financing, a credit score of 850. Wow, that's awful. Dan Tardani made another post that he's lost a number of offers. The question I have is, I know that you've heard me say how to win in multiple offer situations. The credit score, for example, was that included in the pre-qualification letter, or was it provided to the seller? 850 credit score is pretty impressive. Was that provided to the seller from something other than Credit Karma, like Experian or TransUnion, one of those? I don't know the answer to that, but I will tell you that I think I posted this as a comment to my lead-in. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting different results. A lot of agents, whether you attribute that to Albert Einstein or Rita Mae Brown, it doesn't really matter. It's the same thing. It's if we keep doing the same things over and over and we keep losing, it's going to make us go insane. I mean, we can feel the frustration here. I hear it every day. Eric hears it every day, that offers are being held, and that's unfair. All manner of stuff. So, I'll tell you the story of No Next. A story I heard a long time ago, 30 years ago, I'll bet. Gentleman walks into a delicatessen, New York delicatessen. Walks up, takes the number, walks up to the, finally gets up to the counter and says, "I'd like a half a pound of smoked turkey breast." And the person behind the counter goes, "No, next." And he's flabbergasted. He goes, "Well, wait, before you run off, I smoked turkey breast. It's all I want is just a half a pound of smoked turkey breast." The guy says, "Well, I'm out." "No, next." And he calls for the next person. Now, you see, if that guy behind the counter had been a real estate agent and he got a phone call saying, "I want a 4-bedroom house, 3 years old, for $140,000, 2,500 square feet," he would have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how the agent could help that person. See, if this guy was a real estate agent, he would have said, "Listen, I don't have any smoked turkey breast, but I got some roast beef. It's a little different color, tastes a little different, a little chewier, and it's more expensive. But would that work for you?" And then the buyer would go, "No, that's not what I want." In real estate, we tend to take what we get. Rather than go out and find good business, we take whatever business lands in our laps. We don't always go prospecting, mining for new business that is profitable and solid. So, my talk today is about directing your energy toward getting better business that will ultimately get you paid, as opposed to kick to the curb in a buyer's competition. First of all, let's talk about buyers. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I have a process that I don't vary from. It's called CETO, come into the office. Now, in our current pandemic, maybe that's a Zoom call. Maybe that's a FaceTime call. I don't know. But I want to see this person face to face. I want to know that they are serious, that they have cash, that they have a good credit score. I want to be able to walk them through every form that we are going to encounter along the way. Because the worst time to explain a purchase agreement to a buyer is when they're all thrilled about finding a house that they really like. I'm going to talk to them about the market conditions and the reality of making an offer in today's market. That their parents' advice, who haven't bought a house since 1978, that you always make an offer and, kind of negotiate, that doesn't work in today's market. It's foolhardy to even try. So, I'm going to review the buying process. What are the steps that we are going to take along the way? And are we going to take those together? Or are you going to go off on your own and find a FSBO? I'm going to get a commitment that they're going to work with me and that I'm going to get paid a commission. Whether they find a FSBO or new construction doesn't matter to me, but I'm going to make sure that I have a contract that they sign that says that I'm going to get paid regardless of what house they find, whether it's a FSBO, it's a new construction, or something listed, or something that you find for them that's off the market. We're going to come back to that. That's important. We're going to talk soon. Okay. It's also, CETO is personal, for your personal safety. In this business, we've heard many stories of agents who have met strangers at a location and have been robbed or murdered, and so on. It's not worth it to put your lives at risk when you go out and show somebody a house that you don't know. As I've said it before, in winning in multiple offers situations, I always have the credit scores included in the pre-qualification letter from the lender. And I know lenders push back on that. I've had them push back on me. And I will say to the lender, this is really important to my client winning these offers. So I know that you can get a waiver from the buyer that allows you to put these credit scores into their letters, and I would ask that you do that. And if you can't do that, I appreciate you, but I'm going to go use a lender who can do that for me, because that's what's important to my buyer, is to win in this offer situation. Put a large EMD down, a large earnest money deposit down. I mean, $1,000 is nothing in today's world when it comes to buying a house. Put a $10,000 earnest deposit down. That'll get their attention. And guess what? What if you even made it partially non-refundable? Let's say that for some reason, inspections, whatever it is, your buyer has to terminate the offer. And they have a right to get back all of their $10,000 earnest deposit. But what if you said, just to make the seller feel safer and more confident about your offer and accepting your offer, you put in there that you're going to leave $1,000 on the table if for any reason the offer didn't close through no fault of the buyer. They might go, wow, gee, at least we get to cover a month's payment or a portion of it. At least we're not taking our house off the market for 10 or 20 or 30 or 60 days with no compensation for doing so. It's a different thought. It's thinking differently. It's doing something different instead of continuing to do the same thing over and over and over. Above list offer price. That's kind of a no-brainer. In today's market, if you're going in and competing with another offer and you come in at full price, you're just about wasting your time, unless the house is grossly overpriced. Keep the offer simple. Keep it clean. Don't ask for everything under the sun or have some convoluted contingencies that make the seller and the listing agent nervous, and they go, wait a minute, this is just too weird. This makes me feel very uncomfortable. Keep it simple, neat, clean, free possession. I know we're supposed to advocate for our buyers, and a few years ago, the world started to change in a way that we asked for money, the buyers asked for money from the seller to live in the buyer's house for 15 or 30 days. I get that. The world changed. Guess what? It changed again. And today, if you're talking about $1,000 or $1,500 for the seller to live in the property for 30 days, that's nothing. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things. So don't fight so hard for your buyers that you lose the deal. I know we want to advocate for our buyers. Have the conversation with them. Have them understand that this is not an easy market to buy a house in. And we're going to have to pull all of our guns out and blast away as best we can. Appraisal guarantees. I strongly recommend them. Strongly recommend them. Now, I know that some agents out there don't like them. But remember a couple of things. Appraisals are there to protect the banks, not the buyer. My mother was a real estate agent for about 30-some years. And she, very early on in her career, said, a house is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. That holds true today. It doesn't matter what the appraiser says, because the appraiser is trying to protect the bank. It is only one person's opinion about the value of the property, and it is based on lagging indicators. It's based on comps that were pulled from sales from a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, even more. And so if a property has gone up by 5 or 10% during that period of time, then that appraisal is not an accurate reflection of the market value. I've heard agents say, well, I'm not in it for the single sale, I'm in it for the long haul, to be my client's agent for life. Well, that's honorable. That's great. I respect that. But if you don't succeed in winning them a house and they drop you and go to another agent, and that agent wins them a house, who's going to be their agent for life? Start advocating for them, not just in dollars, but in what their wishes and dreams are about how they want to live. I think that's really important. Mining for gold. Sometimes you got to change direction. When you are butting your head up against a wall over and over and over again, working with buyers, change your tactics. Try something different. Go in a different direction. Mine for gold. How many of you, I want to see, raise a hand, how many of you have called an expired listing? I can't see your hands, put them down. Anyway, how many of you have called an expired listing this year, since 1st of January? How many? Again, I can't see your hands, so it doesn't help me. Let me tell you this, though. Here's the deal. You know that since the 1st of January 2020, there have been 10,361 listings that have expired or have been withdrawn from the market since January 1, 10,361 of those have been withdrawn or expired on Flex. Now, I'm guessing, wild, crazy guess here, but I'm guessing that some of them might not have relisted, are not on the MLS today. My guess is if you searched expireds and withdrawns and looked at the expiration dates for the withdrawals to make sure that they were now in fact expired, if you went through and searched for the criteria that your buyer is looking for, and you started making calls out to those expired listings that had not been relisted, you might find the perfect house for your buyer by doing something different, by mining for gold, by getting out your pitchfork and starting to dig rather than butting up against constant multiple offer situations. How many of you are doing that? That's just one. That's a big one, but I'm guaranteeing you, because I've done it, in tough markets like this, I've gotten on the phone and started calling expired listings and said, hey, you know, you had your house on the market back in February. Just curious if you're still interested in selling. And very often their answer, yeah, I took my house off the market back in February. I mean, actually took it off through the holidays and never put it back on. And then we had the COVID thing, and then all that uncertainty about what's going on with the pandemic, and we just haven't gotten around to. But do you have a buyer? Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Mine for gold. Go looking for it. Here's other places you can mine for gold. FSBOs. I know that FSBOs believe they have the cat by the tail right now. I know that they think they can do it all, that they don't need a realtor involved in their transaction. And I will also tell you that the reality is most of them don't know what they're doing. In fact, a great percentage. 50% of all lawsuits, real estate lawsuits in Michigan, are with for sale by owner transactions. And when you recognize that only 8% of all real estate transactions in Michigan are for sale by owner transactions, and they account for 50% of the lawsuits, they need help. They need your help in being a professional, in helping to put the transaction together. Again, the key to working FSBOs is you will not change their mind. Time will change their mind. And if you stay in touch with FSBOs week in, week out, putting something in the mail to them every single week, calling them every couple of 3 weeks, until they say, you know what, I need your help. Or if you have a buyer who matches a house that's for sale by owner and you're driving those neighborhoods, you might just be able to put the two together and get paid for it. Again, we have to mine for gold in this environment where buyer's agents are constantly just being hammered with multiple offer situations. How many of you have a prospecting farm? Ever heard of one? That goes back a ways. That's where you actually mail stuff to people and call them in a targeted area that you choose. It's like a farm. You plant the seed, you nurture it, you water it, and eventually you're well enough known in those areas that they pick up the phone and call you. Well, if you're not doing that right now to get listings, you need to start, because it is fertile ground. More than anything else, though, more than any other type of prospecting I recommend, is your sphere of influence. Some of us are embarrassed about asking our friends or family for business. Be proud of what you do. You're a professional. Why not ask for someone's business? When I go into my dry cleaners and to have my shirts starched, I always ask the guy who owns the place, do you know anyone, or who do you know who might be thinking about making a move? Every time. And sometimes he even laughs and he says, Don, I know the question. That's okay. Anybody? And a couple of times he has. He even has my postcard pinned up on his corkboard wall so that everybody can see it, because I'm a loyal customer of his, and he wants to help me continue to be able to pay to get my shirts cleaned and starched. Your doctors, dentists, lawyers, people you do business, the people who change your oil or work on your car, they owe you reciprocal business. Have the mindset that you deserve to ask them for business and to get business from them. Your sphere of influence is more powerful than any other prospecting method out there. I've told the story before about riding in the car, and I turned to my friend and I said, do you know anybody thinking about buying or selling real estate now or in the near future? She said, no, actually not. No. It's very easy to get a no with a closed-ended question. So a couple of hours later, we'd gone to a movie, had some popcorn on the way home. Same car, same highway, same woman. And I said, who do you know who's thinking about making a move? My mom's going through the divorce. Yeah. True story. Sometimes it's the way you ask the question. Sometimes it's asking an open-ended question. It's that simple when you're talking with friends, family, and people you do business with. Mine for gold. Go out there and do something different than you've done before. That's the way you're going to survive in this market where buyers, if you're a buyer's agent, you're getting hammered left and right. We get it. We understand. We hear it every day. And we're trying to help. I hope this has been helpful. Stay at it. Keep working hard. Oh, I got a question. Do we have those stats on FSBOs on paper so we can use them? I actually Googled those. The 50% figure comes from years ago, and I've been using that a long time. There was an article several years back. I tried to find that one, I couldn't, so I apologize. But the figure used to be 10% of all homes for sale by owner. It's now dropped to 8%, and if you Google that, I think you can find that pretty quickly. Hang on. Realtor Magazine. Oh, it's now even lower. If you just stay there just a second, 7% of all homes, down from 8%. I can copy that and post it right in there. There you go. So that will, print that article. I'll go looking again for the percentage regarding a number of lawsuits, and if I can find it, I'll post it for you. But again, we have to do things differently if we're going to make a living in this business. Some buyers agents are winning every day out there, and we know what they're doing. They're putting credit scores in. They're guaranteeing appraisals. They're putting non-refundable earnest deposits in. The one I fear a little bit is the no inspections issue. If you're dealing with a buyer who has deep pockets, and that's okay, that if they find out that their house is going to need $10 or $20 or $30,000 worth of work, they don't care. It's much different if you're working with a $125,000 buyer who's going in with an FHA loan and has virtually no cash in their pocket. I think that's very dangerous. I wouldn't recommend it. So with that, any other questions, Dom? No. Okay. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for joining. We'll see you again next week.